As some communities battle civil unrest and violence following the killing of an unarmed African American in Minnesota, the Jamestown community engaged in dialogue and conversation during a Black Lives Matter rally on Sunday. Joining us on the show to discuss the movement and the significance of that dialogue here in Jamestown is City Councilwoman Victoria James. Councilwoman James, thank you for joining us today and welcome to the program.
Thank you, Justin. Thank you for having me.
I first want to get your take on that dialogue that we saw between protesters and police on Sunday. What did you make of it?
First I would like to just thank the two young ladies who coordinated that event, that rally. It was such a great coming together. I'm like to thank the mayor, the sheriff, Chief Snellings, my colleagues, my other fellow council people that were there, and mostly, especially the young people. The young people that came out. It was just amazing. And it was amazing to see all races there. Because this is not just a black issue; it's all our issues. We're all in this together, and I was just really proud. I was just proud. I had apologized because I was a little late because we had church and it ran a little late, but I got there late. But what I seen there, I was very proud of of what I seen. It was amazing. The dialogue, the mayor and the chief and the sheriff dialoguing with the people, talking with them, answering their questions honestly and sincerely. It's a great first step. It's an amazing first step.
Yeah, it really was. And when you see that nationwide, you really don't see such an open dialogue and conversation. Unfortunately, we've seen now, it looks like across the country, acts of violence starting to break out following Mr. Floyd's death. But here, people appreciate and value that by talking to their neighbor and hearing from officials, and officials are taking what they have to say. How do you think that our community has been able to avoid that violence and keep the conversation going the way we have?
I have to applaud our community because I think they're staying focused on what is needed. There is a change needs to happen. Because this didn't happen with Mr. Floyd. This did not happen with Miss Taylor. This does not happen. There's just been just this month. There's been like three, or the past month. There's been like three incidents. This is like a 400-year struggle, and I just, people, I think, we're tired, but as we're still tired, we're still focused on knowing that change has to happen. We have to, the things cannot continue to be the same as they are.
Why do you think that we have seen some of those situations become violent? Just most recently, as we mentioned earlier in the show, in Buffalo, where some officers there were injured.
Well, I think that there's anger, but I also think I truly believe there's a lot of outside sources coming in. A lot of professional, protesters who are coming in and tainting the hearts of the true community members who are coming out, like our young people and the people of Jamestown. Not only the young people, I think that because you notice in the daytime it's generally a very peaceful protest. Then it seems like when night, that's when the wickedness reveals itself and things start happening. And I truly just believe a lot of that is not the Buffalo people or the people who are protesting in all 50 states. I truly believe a lot of these are outside sources with their own agendas.
Yeah, and as for the specific message, a lot of people are very passionate about it. For you and the groups we saw over the weekend here, what are they calling for?
They just want to be treated equal. We want the same rights, and the same. And when I was a little girl, I just remember the same stuff happening. We all have families. We all, when we cut, we bleed. We're all the same until it comes to equal rights. We want to be treated like, we don't want to be treated like savage dogs. We're not savage dogs. We are people, and we want to be treated. as such, we want the respect. We want, just like anyone else's family, anybody else's mother, anybody else's son. We don't want to worry about, when I remember I have a son, when he would go outside, when he was young, much younger, when he would leave, staying up worrying, is he going to come back? Is he going to be pulled over? Is he going to be racially profiled, which he has been, and you want to make sure that, you got to teach your kids, when you're approached by law enforcement, these are the things you have to do, and you have to run. And I'm sure your parents taught you, to be respectful, but there's a little more that we, as black mothers and fathers, we have to go and, a little bit further than that with our children. And so why? Because at the end of the day, we just want to be treated equal. We want to be treated the same. We want the same rights. We don't have any privileges. You don't see black privileges. There's a lot of white privileges, but you don't see black privileges. And like I said, and at the end of the day, all we want to be is treated equal.
Now, we do see a lot of those young people in the community grabbing the reins and guiding the conversation, really engaging. Our crews spoke to Josiah Houston. She was one of the young people who led the protest there Sunday afternoon. She explained the importance of that very message. Take a listen.
The reason for this protest is for peace. We've been seeing so much violence, we've been seeing so much animosity going on, and I wanted to bring the community together to show that we are here to support George Floyd, we are here to support the stopping of police brutality, we are here to stop being targets. We want to be supported, we want our voices to be heard. So please stand with us, please support us on this. All lives do not matter until Black lives matter. We are black people. We deserve justice. We deserve to be peaceful. This is our land too. This is our land too.
So what does it mean to have so many young people becoming engaged like that?
I'll tell you, my heart when I walked up into that park, my heart was just so full of joy that the young people are standing up, to taking the reins and standing up to what's right, for their rights, for their, for, as you said, to have the peace, to have that. It's just like, and some of us have been working on this, and to see the going. We have to keep it going because, like I said, I've worked on it, and there's people who mentored me, in the past. The Ron Grahams, the Kelly Knights. There's just so many, people that it's just generation to generation is something, and it's just amazing that these young people what they're doing. But I just hope that these young people, um, as they're doing this, that they, stand, continue to stand, and don't let it go. Don't let it go. And then to do things that will make a better impact is make sure that you fill out your census. You want to stand, you got to be accounted for. Fill out your census, and most importantly, vote because we have the power. They have the power. They have the power to pick and choose who they want to represent them. And I'm not just talking locally, nationally, but they have to. We have to fill out. As a people, we have to fill out those census, and we have to vote. And they need to come to city hall. Usually you don't see meeting. People don't usually come to city hall meetings unless there's an issue that affects them. Then you'll see people when there's a budget. There may be something coming out, being cut out of the budget. You'll see people come then. I hope that these young people will come to the work sessions. Well, right now you can't come to the work sessions, but will still put in their questions. Their lives meetings are being live streamed to continue to have show their let this fade out. Keep going, keep moving, keep pressing. They press till you find the mark. Keep going until because they have to. Because I think this generation is. I think there's a little bit more to this generation. And I think that I'm hoping and praying that a change will come through them because there just seems to be a little more excitement and a little bit more than when I was growing up. And when I look at these young people, there's just a little bit more to them. There's a little more substance to them, and I just hope and pray that they just to continue to march, to continue to be heard. But they still have to do these things to be heard. And and like I said, going to the voting poll. So many people have died just for the right for them to vote. And as traditionally, black folks don't show up at the poll. They don't vote. Even when you look here in Jamestown, a lot of politicians don't spend a lot of time in Ward 3 because Ward 3 doesn't show up at the poll. So why should they waste their time? But they have to realize that they have the power, and the power is going into that voting booth and pulling the lever, marking your circle, whatever. But you have along with this because they're the same. They're the same. You have to rally, you have to speak, but you also have to, you know, you have to act on your authority, and that's your authority. That's your God-given right is to vote. People, like I said, people have died for you to have to vote, and for when black women don't vote, it really, oh, that really pulls something in me because there's just, like I said, so many people have died for this. Just take advantage, and we're just so nonchalant with it. We just take things, well, my vote doesn't matter. Your vote does matter. It does matter. Like Black Lives Matter, vote will matter also to move things along for our people. To get the people in there who we need to get in there. Get on the council, get on councils, get on the legislators, get on, in subcommittees, demand, that's where you're going to get done. Demand change cannot come if you're not inside. You know what I mean? It's like the lottery. You got to be in it to win it. So we have to. I just hope that they just continue to. I'm just so excited that they are. I just applaud them. I applaud them. I applaud them. But I just hope that they will vote and keep that ball going.
Now, Councilwoman, for the community in general, maybe those who are watching this broadcast now who aren't part of this movement, what is your message to them? What can they do to help support you?
Well, again, I go back to you gotta vote. You gotta go to these meetings. Because we have public safety meetings where go to it. We have housing. There's housing issues in this community. Come to them. When there's BPU. I mean, there's the BPW. I mean, there's all these things that they have to get in. Be seen. Be seen in the other venues that the city has. When the city has a strategic planning meeting, show up. When they have, and we have to get the word out to them also. But just to get involved, I just think the more involvement you get, I mean, in your child's school, in your church, in other things around, just being involved, and whatever's out there, whenever you see a notice, I'm gonna go there, grab a friend and go.
Right.
Just the more our faces are seen, the better. The more things because
And
there's a lot of things going on in Jamestown, and there's a lot of non-involvement.
yeah, and you're right. I mean, even before this movement really took center light, just in the past few days here in Jamestown, for years, not as you mentioned, not that many people show up to local meetings and get engaged or even run for office. We see people who run unopposed over and over and over again. Is there anything that lawmakers, after hearing this conversation, seeing the conversation Sunday, are working to do to try to help achieve the message that was brought forward?
One thing, we have a great chief in Chief Snelling, Harry Snelling, and he is approachable, and I know he is willing to go and talk and work right along with you. So, I know he has done a lot with the youth at our church. He comes, he speaks, and not only just having them come and speak, I think we just have to make them more accountable. Now that they had that initial conversation, it's like, okay, what's our next steps? Keep knocking on his door, because his door is open, and our mayor also, they're willing, they want to, they want to make this a better community. They want to see things change. They want, things better for everyone. And so, like the our governor said, now is the time for change. Now is the time because every time there's an uprising, there's a great movement and a change. And so we have to really jump in, really cash in on this because it's right now. Everything is ripe and ready for this change that needs to happen now. And so we just ask the people just to be involved and help with that change and keep on, including myself, those who, the politicians and those who have a little way to help you make the change, stay on us, and make sure that we are doing what we need to be doing.